Hugo Keenan, 79th minute, just before he goes over. The biggest talking point of the game, Carlo Tizzano, Jack Morgan. So much discussion. Joe Schmidt, one side, Wayne Barnes is out this week, Nigel Owens, Piardi, seems the collision, which we'll get into, the law 9.20 states a player must not charge into a ruck or maul without binding onto another player. It also states that making contact above the line of the shoulders with an opponent is dangerous play and prohibited. They had a good discussion. The try was awarded. There's no better person to ask than a back row himself. The way the game's going, Alan, I'm not sure what Jack Morgan could do, get any lower, but Tizzano was as low as you could be. It was pretty equal in how they collided. You've got one side, Phil Wallen-Smith, saying it's definitely a penalty against Jack Morgan, as you would expect. It denies us a third test and a series winning test, whoever wins that game. The other side, Andy Farrell, I'm sure, is thinking, yep, great call, and so's the referee, and that's the decision. It's gone. We chuck the balls up in the air. What does Alan Quinlan say about it?
I don't know if I'm the best person to talk about just because I played in the back row, but I remember Brody Retallick had one. Was it last summer or season before against Japan? He got sent off. Some similarity to that. He kind of dived into the ruck, hit the Japanese player in the back of the head, got a straight red for it. I think initially I thought he's in trouble here. And then when you see the replay and you hear the explanation of Piardi, I think Piardi says that they both arrived at the same time. They actually didn't. Tizzano was there.
Yeah, Morgan's just behind him.
Yeah, he was just a half a second ahead of him, wasn't he, Tizzano? So I think if you go into the letter of the law situation where the contact is made, but look, I don't know what you're supposed to do anymore in the modern game. The croc roll is gone, which is fair enough because there was players getting injured from that, and it was dangerous regarding lower limb injuries and stuff like that. I think if a player gets in that position, that low, it's impossible to move them. I think he just gets there after him, and he's very, very low, Jack Morgan as well. And I know the law states that your head is not supposed to be below your hips, but look, that never happens in a breakdown. If that was pulled, you'd be stopping players at every breakdown. But if you go into the letter of the law thing, it's possibly a penalty and possibly a yellow card. There's no intent from Jack Morgan. He doesn't dive off his feet. So I'm very much divided in the point that it could go either way. If this was given as a penalty, of course, there'd be, from the line side, there'd be uproar. The vast majority of people, I would say, who are non-Australian think there's nothing wrong with it, and what else was Jack Morgan supposed to do? And I feel the same. I think I agree that it could easily have been a penalty. Am I strong and it was my opinion very strong in the sense that, I think it was a penalty? No, I'm 50-50 on it, short. It's one of those ones that could go either way. And when there's that kind of uncertainty, essentially, it's a big, big call. Is that
where our game is just at, Alan? There's so
many interpretations,
it can go like that, and it could go the other side. I'm sure that can't be good for the game. But is there any way? If
you think back a year or two, Stuart, ago, maybe the last 3 or 4 years in the game, 5 years or whatever, it could be probably 6-7 years when this head contact situation came into play. Any sort of collision, accidental or not, or intentional, players are getting yellow carded, red carded. It's moved on to a more common sense approach now, and it's that. And also the 20-minute red card mitigates it down a little bit in the sense that if there's an accidental shoulder on head, that it may stay a yellow card, or else if you have the 20-minute, if you have the red card by the TMO, is it? If he goes off for that 20-minute red card, you get a player back in the field. So it's kind of, there's a more common sense approach to accidental collisions or rugby collisions, as we call them. There's still some grey areas, isn't there? I think most people, and I'm trying to see what other people think as well, because am I right in saying the vast majority of ex-referees and ex-players think that Jack Moore, it was okay and they came to the right
Yeah, I
decision?
think with referees we need to be careful because, and rightly so, most of them would back each other. Correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
So and the vast majority, everyone has an opinion. And I think you're spot on by the 50-50, which
Yeah,
is
and
very an interesting and intriguing place to be for our game, especially. But I think, rugby collision, but what's that define as well? That's opinionated too.
And it's not me trying to, am I offending one side or the other here? I always try and make these calls myself on what I feel and what your opinion is, and kind of back yourself. If you feel something, if you feel it's wrong, or if you feel there's foul play, and other people don't, it doesn't really matter. You just back your own opinion. My opinion here is this is a 50-50 one. It's so marginal. But as I said, if they did disallow the try and give Australia the penalty, well, we'd be having the same debate. I'd still be 50-50 on it. I think it's such a big call in the magnitude of the impact of that decision is it gives Australia the victory. It went their way in a sense that another referee in the day could say there was contact there, and I think that's the one inaccuracy that's there, is they didn't arrive at the same time. Tizzano was there before him. It might be 0.2 or 3 of a second, who knows? But look, I don't think there was any malicious kind of recklessness out of Jack Morgan, because you're not going to do something crazy like that. I think it was just urgency to get there. He probably saw the threat of Tizzano coming and the possibility of that ball being turned over, and he won a Lions tour essentially for the Lions, because if he doesn't get there and clean him out there, Tizzano locks onto the ball. He had that turnover 5, 6, 7 minutes before that, the one where Russell went to the corner and they tried them all over, and there was a couple of rucks, and he had a brilliant turnover. So, yeah, it's a big talking point, but people's opinions are split on it, really. The vast majority, I think, and we have to kind of respect their opinions as well. And it probably, for me to say it's probably the right decision is I don't know if that's even right. I just don't know. I think it could have went either way.